Hi friends, I'm Olga Koelsch and welcome back to my studio.
For painting butterfly in transparent technique, it would be more interesting to paint a butterfly with closed wings or half-closed wings, because that will show the transparency in a better way. When you draw a butterfly like this, you just need to draw half of a butterfly, which will be our front wings, and then a little bit tilted the other pair of the other wings. I transferred my drawing onto watercolor paper. For these types of painting, I recommend you to use hot press 300 grams. I would like to paint my butterfly in all the shades of blue. I will use cerulean blue as my main color. I prepared very diluted mix, bold mix, mixed it with ultramarine blue. All my mixes are pretty watery, you can see it. Now the drawing might look a bit complicated, but once we paint the first layer, it will be much easier. To paint the first layer, I use my very diluted cerulean blue, and I glaze all the area of my butterfly of background wings. Visible and invisible parts we are glazing with cerulean very diluted mix, just the whole background area of our future butterfly. Try to distribute water evenly, avoid puddles. If you see some puddles happening, just use paper towel to remove excess water. Try to move your brush accordingly to the direction of wings, to the long lines of future wings, not like this, but more like this. Now, once the water starts to suck into the fibers, let's firstly add a little bit more, small hint of mix with ultramarine blue around the body, just around the body, and a few drops around the wings, around the tips of the wings. About this area will be hidden, so no need to go much into details. I always dry my brush with a paper towel and distribute. I can use my brush as a sponge to remove excess water. I will switch to a smaller brush, and I will use my bold mix of cerulean. It's pretty bold, almost from the tube. And with the tip of the brush, I just go around while the paper is still wet and do some outlines around all this wing area. If you see that some blooms are happening around, no worries. In a moment I will show you how to deal with them. Let's quickly finish the outline. You can add some move around, and then I wash my brush, dry it with a paper towel, and with the tip of the brush I just go around the edge and soften everything. So if you had some blooms, it's not a problem at all. Now you can remove them. Sometimes it's nice to paint as it is and leave a lot of watercolor texture and let it flow, and that's the easiest option. And I will show you a little bit more a little bit more intricate approach. So I hope you will like it as well. While your paper is still wet, you can add a little bit of shades that will just give an impression of the wings. And this is our visible part. So let's, with the tip of the brush, while the paper is still wet, let's do some wings. The paper is wet and therefore our wings would not be that bright. They will dissolve a little bit, and all in all it will create very delicate texture. We can add a little bit more of idea of two wings, but don't go much into details, so we keep our painting very clean, not overloaded with details. And now let's dry completely this first layer. Now let's paint front petals. Let's start from the bottom one because it's hidden under the front petal. I would like to have a little bit more time to add details, therefore I firstly glaze the whole petal area with clean water. I try to distribute water evenly and try to avoid puddles. I'm very carefully, I'm glazing just the area of the petal, but the whole area, visible, invisible area, and I need to give a moment, maybe 30 seconds, 1 minute, to let water suck into the fibers. Now let's add our very diluted mix of cerulean. If it is maybe a little bit challenging for you to paint on hot press paper, I have a video about tips and tricks how to handle hot press paper and paint on it efficiently without stress. So very recommend to watch. So now we have this wing. I would like to add a hint of bolder mix around the body, here around the body. Then I want to distribute it around with the tip of the brush. I just distribute this bolder mix into the wing area. What's important on this stage, not to mix all these wings, but luckily butterfly has just 4 wings. That makes it a little bit easier. So with the tip of the brush I just basically distribute a little bit this darker color. I will be back here in a moment. I would like now to add a little bit of ultramarine blue on the tips of the wings. So to say, now I'm creating a graded wash and mixing these two colors right in the area of the wings. Distribute everything with the tip of my brush, and that allows me to achieve nice graded wash here. Now I want to remove all the puddles. I use my paper towel to dry my brush and use my brush as a sponge if I see some unnecessary water puddles. Now I would like to grab a little bit bolder mix of cerulean and ultramarine. I will make it a little bit drier, and I will go around the edge. Actually, I would like to start around the body. Close to the body I will do just ultramarine outline, or cerulean outline, so our basic color, and then I switch more to ultramarine for the tips. In the areas there will be future wings, I leave a little bit more, or so to say, dots. I will use them later. I'm coming back to the body of butterfly, and I would like to switch to cerulean. If these color mixes are a bit challenging right now, you can try to paint butterfly just in one color. Choose one of your favorite colors, not necessarily blues. They can be pinks, for example, and try it. Now I dry my brush. I go along the edge. As we did before, I soften the edge. At the same time, I'm correcting the shape. If something went wrong, I maybe made some wrong moves. It's a nice time to correct. And now, with the tip of the brush, I would like to drag out a little bit the blue color into the veins. I have clean brush. All the paint you see is what I'm borrowing, so to say, from these bold parts. That allows to create very nice soft area for future wings. If you don't have enough, no worries, you can just do it in a traditional way and grab some dry mix from your palettes, like this, for example. The paper is still wet and everything distributes softly. This is what I'm picturing, that what I'm aiming on this stage, to create these soft graded washes and soft lines. You can use tip of your brush to correct or to soften some areas. For example, I would like to add more shades into the tips of this wing. Now I will dry everything and paint the other one. Now I'm glazing this upper front petal with clean water, same as we did before, just clean water to prepare the surface of the paper. So now let's glaze it with our very diluted mix of cerulean. In the same way, we're just carefully distributing it. Don't apply too much pressure, especially in these areas where you already painted something. With the tip of the brush, distribute water evenly, and then let's add nice touch of ultramarine blue around the tips of the wings, about this, softening everything with the tip of the brush. Don't afraid to paint too light. In this technique you can always get brighter, but would be difficult to get lighter. Let's add a little bit more of color around the body, because similar to the flowers wings, they have very fine delicate tips, and once they getting more close to the body, they are getting more thicker. So we need to add extra weight to the wings where they attaching to the body. Let's add a little bit more of ultramarine blue, a little bit drier around the tips. Just like this. And now I would like to add outlines as we did before. So I will start with cerulean around the body, so to say 1/3 of the wing. I will paint with cerulean. Better not to stop around this intersection with other elements, other colors, because it will be too simple, not so interesting. So now let's add ultramarine blue. Ultramarine blue. When you mix colors like this, you can overlap them just a little bit and then go around. Again, you can add more spots in the area where will be veins. While the paper is still wet, you can do a lot of tricks. Now let's connect here. Now I wash my brush. I dry it with a paper towel, and with about 1/3 of the tip of the brush, I just go around, soften this edge when necessary, and with, so to say, the opposite direction, I try to drag out a little bit of blue color into the veins, But again, as it was before, if it is already dry, no problem. You can add you can add veins, or let's say it's not really veins, it's future place for the veins with the color. When it is too bold or too sharp, wash your brush, dry it with a paper towel, and go along and soften. And one more. Maybe one more here. I want to go around with my almost dry brush with a little bit of ultramarine blue on the top, and add some softness. Something like this. If you miss something at this point, no problem, no worries. We will try this layer and add all the details later. So to paint all these fine lines, I use a brush with nice fine tip. I use synthetic brush, and I just go around, applying a little bit more pressure while I move to the body. When I'm getting close to the body of the brush, the wing is a little bit thicker there. Like this. And now let's do this part. I use both ultramarine blue and cerulean, more ultramarine on the tips and cerulean close to the body. I like to have some room for my hand when I'm painting wings. No need to try to paint wings in one go. There is a certain risk that your hand will move in wrong direction. So just paint it in the smaller parts. You can vary the boldness of the color. What's important that your hand is placed very conveniently on your desk. Maybe it's more convenient to move in the other direction. At least you can definitely see better what I'm doing from this perspective. And one more. Use your reference to paint wings accordingly. No need to paint each and every. Just it's important that you bring the idea of how wings are organized, that they are a bit similar to the original. That looks lovely. Let's add a little bit more thickness around this area next to the body to make wings a little bit heavier, and also to distinguish wings from wings borders from wings, a little bit like this, just on the top petal. I always want to say petal of the wing. From that point you can go and add more and more details, some ornaments around, but I like how it is now. Let's just add body. I would like to paint body in burnt sienna. I have on my other plate from other project, I have a little bit of Berlin green. I will use it for the body. I don't want to go over complicated with the body. Just some antennas, very fine lines. It's a little bit of imaginative painting. Our goal, we're not painting botanical illustration, we paint an idea of very unique transparent butterfly, see-through. This effect you get when you look at some objects and flowers and butterflies with very bright sun shining from the other part. That's why it's so intricate, so beautiful. Now let's add a grass. I will use, as I advised in some videos, I very rare wash my palettes. Therefore I always have something next to me of nice color, and I don't need to squeeze suddenly and look around for colors. So the grass will be pretty simple. Just with the tip of the brush I go around and make very simple wash. I add just different shades. It's nice to add something warm in this moment, in this grass. It will create nice contrast with butterfly, but these are very little, small, tiny little details. Basically what you need is to paint some line. It can be, for example, also a flower. You can paint a flower and sit your butterfly on the flower. You can just imagine that it is a flying butterfly. Then no need to paint anything to sit it. Very, very, very tiny details. And I think we did a nice job and our butterfly is ready.
Thank you so much for painting with me. I hope you enjoyed the process. I'm looking forward for your feedback and comments, which questions you have about painting watercolor, what flower you would like to paint next. I read each and every comment of you. I'm very thankful for your support. See you next time. Bye bye.